We have spicy chili, we have sticky, salty pork, we've got crispy fried fish, and boy oh boy do we have one oozy egg. Mix it all up and what do you have? This is my version of Malaysia's chili pan mee. Okay guys, I'm not gonna lie, there are a few elements to this dish, but it is, without word of a lie, totally worth it. If you have ever tasted Kuala Lumpur's very famous version of this dish, you would know it's worth it. Trust me. All right, we wanna get going on the chili part first of all. So this chili you are gonna wanna eat on everything. It is so good. Starts off with a few things that I've had soaking. I've got some dried shrimp here. I just had that soaking in some hot water for about 15 minutes. It's gonna go into my little blender here. All right, so next up we want some shallots. They go into the blender too. Okay, so we want some garlic here as well. Now I need some garlic for my chili, but I also need some garlic for my pork a little bit later on. So just give this a really fine chop. And then half of this I'll save for later and the other half goes into my blender. And now we're looking for a very fine kind of like floss almost texture. You'll see in a minute. And it's the dried shrimp that really gives you that kind of like salty umami flavor in this chili. All right, so obviously our chili condiment needs some chilies. So I'm gonna go in with some of these large dried red chilies. These are the typical ones that you'll find from a Chinese or an Asian grocer. And I've had them soaking in some hot water here. I'm just gonna pop them, squeeze them first, and then pop them into my blender. I'm gonna pop them in whole because I kind of want some nice chunky bits of the chili in the finished kind of condiment. So those ones. Now I also want some fresh chilies as well. And now just blend that till we've got kind of like a rough-ish kind of paste. Okay, so this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like we're a little pasty in here, but we've also got like, you know, little bits of chunky dried chili as well. That's perfect. All right, now let's get this chili cooking. Add in some oil. And I'm gonna go in with our dried shrimp mixture first. So the thing with this chili mixture is it requires a little bit of patience. So you really want to give these aromatics here, like the garlic and the shallots, some time to really mellow out. So a good like 3 or 4 minutes just kind of stirring around in that oil. Okay, so this is looking good. What I'm going to do now is put my chili in. Oh, look at that colour, so cool. Now what you need to do here is keep an eye on this. You want to be coming back and giving it a stir every so often. You want to turn the heat right down. And I actually want this to kind of cook really low and slow on the stovetop for around about 30 minutes. And I know it sounds like a long time, but I want the chili to kind of like dry out and become really deep and dark and like almost like it's like a little smoky or something. But you definitely want to be coming back to check it. Treat it like, you know, a little child that you need to tend to. Don't let it burn. So I'm just gonna leave that to gently cook while I get on with doing the rest of our stuff for our dish. Okay, so the other really important element for this dish, and maybe I should give you guys some context. So this is a very famous dish from Kuala Lumpur, and you typically are served these Chinese wheat noodles with a porky topping, with egg, with, you know, greens, and you get this chili on the side at the table that you can like dish up to your liking. It all gets mixed up into like this spicy amazingness. But I can't get to KL at the moment because no one is traveling in the world. So this is the kind of dish that I love to make because it reminds me of being in those places, and I miss doing that, which I know a lot of you guys do too. So anyway, that's why we're doing this today. That's the backstory, everyone. But let's get going on the porky side of things. So what we need to do here is just prep our shiitake mushrooms. So these guys you can buy really easily online. dried shiitake mushrooms. I've had them soaking in some hot water again. So you can soak like your shrimp, your chili, and the mushrooms all together, you know, at the same time, so they're nice and soft. And with shiitakes, these dried versions, you always want to take that stem out because it's a little tough. Now, while you're doing all of this, always make sure you're coming back to stir your chili. So now we just need some oil in a hot pan, and I'm going to go in here with some pork. Now you just want to cook the pork, breaking it up with your spatula as you go until it's all sort of evenly brown. All right, pork's looking good. I'm going to throw my garlic in now, and mushrooms. And now to season this guy up, I want some soy sauce, some dark soy sauce, and some oyster sauce. And I want some sugar for a little bit of sweetness here too. Now give that a mix, but we need to be a little more patient again for the magic to happen. I want all of that like salty goodness to get soaked up in the pork and the mushroom. So just give that like, you know, about 5 minutes to simmer and bubble away. Okay, let's come back and have a look at our chili because it's like starting to like get me in the back of the throat. So I know that it's going to be good. Now take a look at that color. I mean, it is so deeply dark and mysterious and amazing. I love it. It looks really fiery too. What I do want to do is season this up with a bit of salt and sugar. So a little bit of sugar and some salt as well. Now give that a mix and see what I mean. Like we've got this really like dry, flaky kind of mix going on here. And let me just make sure, let me see. Oh yeah, that is the business. I mean, that is so badass. It's like salty, a little bit sweet, spicy, and then you've got all that umami stuff happening from like the dried shrimp and the garlic and the shallots. Ah, amazing. That bubbling you can hear, that is my pork. Let's go back and have a look at that now. Wow, okay, so you can see that almost all of that liquid has magically evaporated and been soaked up by all of that pork. That is looking totally lush. Let's lush it up even more with some corn flour that I've just mixed with a little bit of water. And just like that, we are even more sticky and glossy and shiny. Oof, that looks good. Final little adjustments here. I want some sesame oil. I love to put sesame oil on at the end because you really keep that bright sesame flavor. And a little sprinkling of some white pepper. All right, friends, we're nearly there, trust me. But we have one more thing we want to make before we get into dishing all of this up, and that is our crispy fried fish. So in a lot of parts of Southeast Asia, we have a dried anchovy that we call ikan bilis. It is totally awesome. It's a great beer snack, by the way. It kind of looks like this. You can buy it dried, but you need to kind of fry it to crisp it up a little bit. And again, have a search for that one online, guys, and see if you can search it out. If you can't get a hold of it, that's cool, you can leave it off. But if you can, it's really worth trying. Okay, so you want to put your fish into the hot oil. And just kind of keep them moving around a little. They literally take a couple of seconds only. Like I'm going to pull them out now. Just kind of crispy and golden. And just drain those on some paper towel. Okay, to serve this up, you want some noodles. I've also got just a little bit of greenery here. I've got some snow peas because I just had them in my fridge. Some Chinese vegetables would be great as well. But what we really want here is some of our lovely, shiny, sticky pork. And a really good spoon, and I mean like a good couple of spoons of this amazing chili stuff. Oh God, look at that color. Oh my God, I'm already excited, beyond excited. And now some of our crispy fish that we made. Oh, yes. And finally, a poached egg, because like, you know, gooey, runny egg and spicy noodles. I mean, that's a thing, right? Totally. I can't wait to get in here. So what you need to do is like get in there with your egg. Mix everything up until those noodles are ruby red and shiny and sticky with all of those good things in there. Oh, this looks so good. Holy smokes, like that going on in there, it's like, it's the biggest party ever. I mean, that chili is insane. That pork is so savory and sticky and porky and amazing. And you get the pops of that crispy fish. Incredible. And, oh, wow. So, so good. I love you, Kale. I wish I could come and visit, but this is almost as good. Almost. Yum. If you've got any comments or questions, pop them below. And if you enjoyed the video, why not hit that subscribe button plus the little bell one, and that way you'll get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks, guys.